If I told you that a single biblical principle could transform your entire financial life in 2026, would you believe me? Not a magic formula, not motivational hype, not a promise built on empty words, but a timeless truth spoken by God Himself, a truth that has lifted ordinary men and women out of fear and into purpose, out of scarcity and into abundance, a truth that still opens doors no man can shut, because the Bible is not just a book of spirituality, it is a manual of divine wisdom, a blueprint for prosperity and a guide for those who dare to trust God with their future. But here is the painful reality. Most people spend years searching for financial answers in the wrong places. They work harder but grow more tired. They try smarter but feel more lost. They push themselves without direction and end up frustrated, discouraged, and confused because they are relying only on their own strength while leaving out the one who actually holds the keys to breakthrough. You do not have to repeat that story. 2026 does not have to be a continuation of struggle, disappointment, or survival. Your story can change your direction, can shift your blessings, can multiply your finances, can align with the purpose God placed inside you. And this year can become the year you finally break out of the cycle that has been limiting your life. In this video, we are not going to discuss shallow ideas or vague theories. We will dive into biblical principles that have weathered centuries, truths that elevate those who practice them and open doors in ways no human strategy can. We will walk through real spiritual foundations, practical wisdom, and faith-driven instructions that, if applied with courage, can unlock a new dimension of prosperity in your financial, spiritual, and emotional life. Because true success never begins in your bank account. It begins in your heart. It begins in your mindset. It begins in your relationship with God and in how you apply His principles to your daily life. So, if you are tired of entering a new year with the same goals, the same fears, the same losses, the same financial pressure, if you want 2026 to be the year something finally breaks open, if you are ready to step into a season where God leads your planning, your decisions, and your breakthroughs, then this message is for you. And before we continue, pause for 1 second and breathe. Because this moment is not a coincidence. Something in your spirit is awakening. Something inside you is saying, this is for me. This is my year. This is the word I have been waiting for. Get ready, because what you are about to hear is not just advice. It is a key, a spiritual key that can open doors you have been knocking on for years. 2026 will not be built by chance. It will be built by faith, by intention, and by aligning your heart with the God who wants to prosper you. If this resonates with you, if something inside you is stirring, let me know in the comments. Say, I am ready for my 2026 breakthrough, because speaking it is the first step to stepping into it. Asterisk. Before anything in your finances can change, before opportunities begin to open, before your mindset shifts into a position of abundance, you must understand a truth that almost no one talks about. Every new year is a spiritual doorway. 2026 is not just another calendar year. It is a gate, and the way you step through that gate determines what flows into your life the rest of the year. Many people step into a new year by repeating old habits, carrying old fears, dragging old disappointments, and expecting new results. They make goals, but do not surrender them. They dream, but do not invite God into the dream. They plan, but do not consult the one who already sees the entire map of their future. And then they wonder why nothing changes, why they feel stuck, why they start strong and burn out, why their finances remain limited, why doors open but close again, why some blessings begin but do not last. But you are not here to repeat that pattern. 2026 is not just another attempt, it is an appointed season. And if you align your spirit with God from the very beginning, the entire trajectory of your year shifts. Consecrating a year to God is not a ritual, it is not a tradition, it is not a symbolic gesture, it is a powerful spiritual transaction. It is your way of saying, God, I refuse to build this year with my strength. Guide me, lead me, shape me, correct me, and bless me. It makes the difference between walking in circles and walking with purpose, between survival and increase, between hoping for change and experiencing change. Imagine A father sitting with his child on the edge of a new beginning. The father asks, "What do you dream of this year? What do you truly want? What weighs on your heart? What excites you? What scares you? What feels impossible?" The child, with bright, honest eyes, begins to speak clearly, boldly, freely. He names his desires, his fears, his goals, and the father listens with joy, because the heart of a parent delights when their children speak with clarity. Now imagine that same child answering with vague uncertainty, "Whatever you want, Father, whatever you decide." I do not really know. This response may sound humble, but it gives the father nothing to bless, nothing to direct, nothing to build. Many believers approach God that same way. They keep their dreams vague. They hide their specific desires. They fear asking for too much or too little. They pray general prayers like, "Lord, bless my year," but they never define what blessing looks like for them. They never name their financial goals, their emotional needs, their career desires, their spiritual hunger. But God is a father who wants to hear the details. He wants to hear the dreams you are afraid to say out loud. He wants to hear the goals that feel too big. He wants to hear about the financial pressure that keeps you awake at night. He wants to hear the business ideas you feel unqualified to start. He wants to hear about the debt you want to break free from. He wants to hear about the opportunities you feel unprepared for. So right now, take a moment and think deeply. What do you truly desire for 2026? Not the filtered version, not the small version, not the polite version. The real desire, the one that lives beneath your fear, beneath your hesitation, beneath the voice that says it is too late, or too hard, or too unrealistic. Because when you speak that desire to God, you are not informing Him, you are aligning yourself with Him. You are allowing your faith to rise. You are giving Him access to shape your year in a way fear cannot. Consecration requires honesty. It requires transparency. It requires courage. It requires being willing to place your goals into the hands of God and trust that He will refine them, strengthen them, or redirect them for your good and His purpose. This is where 2026 must begin, not with pressure, not with anxiety, not with frustration, but with surrender, not with running, but with releasing, not with surviving, but with seeking. And here is the truth that changes everything. God is not only interested in your spiritual growth, He is intimately interested in your finances, your stability, your opportunities, your ideas, your provision, because these areas impact the quality of your life and the influence you carry. When you consecrate your year to God, you are not being religious, you are being strategic. You are placing the supernatural above the natural. You are choosing partnership over independence. You are choosing breakthrough over burnout. Now, take this deeper. Imagine walking into every month of 2026 with God as your advisor, every decision weighed through His wisdom, every goal refined through His direction, every step aligned with His purpose. Imagine the peace that brings. Imagine the confidence. Imagine the clarity. There is no financial stress too heavy for Him, no debt too large, no limitation too rooted, no fear too deep, no dream too big. Consecrating 2026 to God means you are refusing to build on unstable ground. You are choosing to build on the rock that no storm can shake. It means that the setbacks of past years do not have the authority to rewrite your new year. It means that your past failures cannot disqualify your new blessings. It means every door that was closed in 2025 does not dictate the doors God will open in 2026. So right now, whisper this in your heart: Lord, I dedicate this year to You. Every plan, every fear, every goal, every part of me. Guide me, correct me, bless me, strengthen me, align me, because I refuse to repeat the cycles of the past. If you feel that prayer rise inside you, if your spirit feels even a small shift, let me know in the comments. Say, I consecrate my 2026 to God, because speaking it activates it. And once you consecrate a year to God, nothing about that year stays the same. Asterisk. There is a moment in every believer's life when the difference between breakthrough and stagnation is not effort, but declaration. Many people pray silently, hoping something will change, yet they never open their mouth, never release the Word never speak the promises of God into the atmosphere, never activate the authority God placed inside them. And then they wonder why their situation feels the same year after year. Bible is not just a book to read, it is a weapon to speak. When God created the world, He did not think light into existence. He spoke it, and the same pattern continues today in your house, in your mind, in your finances, in your spirit. What you speak shapes what you see. What you declare shapes what you experience. Silence invites confusion, but declaration invites alignment. Philippians 4:19 is one of the most powerful promises ever written. My God will supply all your needs according to His riches in glory. This is not poetry. This is not optimism. This is a spiritual law. When you declare this promise with faith, you are not reciting words. You are activating provision. You are stepping inside a divine contract. You are calling down a supply system that does not depend on the economy, inflation, your job title, or your bank account asterisk. But here is the secret no one teaches you. Declaration without faith is noise, empty words, hollow vibrations that do not move heaven. It is faith that turns scripture into a seed, faith that forms a shield around your thoughts, faith that pushes back anxiety, fear, and scarcity, faith that builds an invisible wall of protection and abundance around your household. When you say, "My God supplies all my needs," you are saying, "I refuse to bow to scarcity. I refuse to let fear dictate my finances. I refuse to let lack determine my destiny." And yet declaring is not shouting, it is not begging, it is not trying to convince God. It is aligning your mouth with what God already promised. It is reminding your spirit that the supply is bigger than the need. Reminding your soul that God has never failed. Reminding your mind that lack is not your identity. But there is another layer. Declarations must be consistent. They must be daily. They must be present, especially when your emotions do not feel like saying them. On days when bills look bigger than your faith, on days when unexpected expenses appear, on days when your income feels low, on days where you question if you will ever get ahead. This is when declaration becomes warfare. This is when your mouth becomes a key. This is when your words separate you from defeat. Write this promise somewhere visible. Place it on your mirror, your phone, your desk, your wallet. Every time your eyes see it, your faith will strengthen. Every time your mouth speaks it, your reality will shift, because you cannot continuously declare the word of God and remain in the same spiritual condition. Something has to respond. Anxiety weakens, doubt breaks, fear retreats, and heaven moves. This is why the enemy tries to silence you. He tries to suffocate your confidence. He tries to fill your mouth with negativity, fear, scarcity, and hopelessness, because he knows something you often forget. Your voice is powerful. Your words create atmosphere. Your declarations build momentum. Your faith spoken out loud becomes a force that disrupts cycles. Imagine waking up every morning in 2026, speaking life over your finances, speaking clarity over your decisions, speaking provision over your home, speaking strength over your family, speaking wisdom over your business. Imagine how different your year would look if every sunrise began with the sound of the word. Shaping your destiny instead of the sound of worry. Shaping your mood. Declaration is not pretending life is perfect. It is announcing that God is present. It is choosing faith when your feelings choose fear. It is saying, "I am not alone. God is my provider. God is my source. God is my strategy. God is my stability. God is my increase, and God is my breakthrough." And let this sink deeper into your spirit. When you declare the word of God, you are not informing Him of anything. You are informing your environment, your atmosphere, your spiritual circumstance. Every force that is opposing you, that God has spoken, and His word does not return empty. Speak it. When you wake up, speak it. When you feel pressure, speak it. When you feel stuck, speak it. When you feel hopeful, speak it. When you feel doubtful, speak it, until the truth of God becomes louder than the voice of circumstance. Someone listening to this right now has no idea how close they are to stepping into a different financial future, and the shift begins not with money, but with your mouth. Your declaration is the seed, your consistency is the water, and God is the one who brings the harvest. So right now, wherever you are, say this with me. My God will supply everything I need in 2026 according to His riches in glory. As you say it, your faith rises, your spirit aligns, your atmosphere shifts, your year transforms. If you felt something move inside, you let me know in the comments. Say, I declare God's provision over my 2026. Because you are not just typing words, you are planting a seed. Asterisk. There is a principle woven through Scripture so consistently and so quietly that most believers overlook it, yet it is one of the greatest keys to prosperity, success, and favor. Planning with God, not rushing, not guessing, not improvising, but planning with intention and wisdom, rooted in divine guidance. Proverbs 21:5 says, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but those who rush lead only to lack. This is not simply advice, it is spiritual law. When you plan without God, you build on sand. When you plan with God, you build on rock. Many people enter a new year with vague dreams. They say, I want to save more, I want to earn more, I want to grow, I want to start something new, but they never write anything down. They do not think deeply, they do not create structure, they do not make a map, they simply hope. And hope is not a strategy. Hope must be partnered with clarity, and clarity is born from planning. Planning with God begins by asking Him the questions others overlook. Lord, where are you leading me this year? Lord, what opportunities are from you and which ones are distractions? Lord, what skills do I need to develop for what you want to release? Lord, what habits must I break? Lord, what steps must I take this month, this week, today? Because without direction, even your best efforts can lead. You know where you can work hard, but move in circles. You can be busy, but not effective. You can feel productive while missing what actually matters. Enemy does not always attack with chaos. Sometimes he attacks with misdirection, making you busy in the wrong areas, draining your energy on things God never assigned, confusing your priorities until you feel overwhelmed, unorganized, and discouraged. This is why planning with God is not optional for a prosperous year. It is essential. It protects your focus, it preserves your energy, it maximizes your strengths, it aligns your time with your purpose. Imagine two builders. One arrives at a construction site with a clear blueprint. He knows the foundation, he knows the measurements, he knows the timeline, he knows the structure, he knows where everything belongs. The other builder arrives hoping instincts will guide him. He starts strong, but quickly becomes confused, frustrated, scattered, and slow. The difference between their results is not skill but plan. This is exactly how many Christians approach their year. They want abundance, but do not plan. They want breakthroughs, but do not prepare. They want opportunities, but do not structure. They ask God for more, yet their life has no room for more. God honors preparation. He blesses structure. He increases what is ordered. He breathes on strategies that reflect wisdom and discipline. If you want 2026 to be different, you must plan differently, not loosely, not emotionally, but intentionally, meaningfully, and spiritually aligned. Start by writing your financial goals, not just earn more, but how much save, how much invest, how much give, how much learn, what business skills, what financial habits, what boundaries, what opportunities you will pursue, because unclear goals produce unclear results. Next, examine your spending. Many people pray for financial increase, but leak money through unmonitored habits, unseen expenses, emotional purchases, and lack of accountability. Budgeting is not a restriction, it is liberation. It is telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went. It is taking authority over your resources instead of letting them scatter. Then, look at your revenue streams. Do not place the weight of your future on a single source. God often blesses through multiplication, through several streams, through several opportunities, through several open doors. Ask Him, Lord, show me where I can expand, where I can grow, where I can sow, where I can build. But planning is not only about numbers, it is about stewardship. Stewardship of time, stewardship of energy, stewardship of your mind, stewardship of your opportunities. Many people fail not for lack of talent, but for lack of order. They allow distractions to dominate their days. They allow chaos to dictate their pace. They allow emotions to guide their decisions, and then wonder why they do not advance. Steward your time as the gift it is. Make room for prayer, make room for study, make room for planning, make room. For rest, make room for work that matters, not work that only feels urgent, because when your schedule honors God, God honors your schedule planning. With God also means creating flexibility because His ways are higher than yours and His timing is different from the timing of men. Unexpected opportunities will appear, unexpected connections will form, unexpected ideas will rise, unexpected changes will come when you plan with sensitivity to the Spirit. You can adapt, you can shift, you can adjust. Without losing your peace. Planning without God is pressure. Planning with God is partnership. Planning with God turns anxiety into clarity, turns confusion into direction, turns overwhelm into purpose. And hear this carefully: many people pray for miracle, but their life is not structured to contain one. Blessings require containers. Abundance requires systems. Elevation requires preparation. God cannot pour a gallon into a cup. He cannot trust new levels to hearts that refuse discipline or structure or planning. So, as you prepare for 2026, do not rush, do not move blindly, do not guess. Surrender your plans, ask for His direction, write your goals, build your structure, refine your habits, guard your focus, protect your time, strengthen your skills, and trust that God will breathe on the work of your hands right now. If this is speaking to you, declare it in the comments. I will plan my 2026 with God, because the moment you say it, you begin to break every old pattern of disorganization and stepping into a year built with spiritual and financial intention. There is a truth that every person who walks with God eventually discovers: prosperity does not arrive in a straight line. Success does not come without resistance. Blessings do not manifest without pressure, and breakthrough is rarely born in comfort. You may desire a smooth path, but growth is shaped in struggle. Wisdom is forged in fire, and resilience is carved into your spirit during the moments when life feels the heaviest. Many believers misunderstand the role of difficulty. They think challenges mean God has abandoned them. They think delays mean the promise is gone. They think setbacks mean they failed. They think closed doors mean they are not chosen. But the truth is far more powerful. Challenges are not evidence of God's absence, but often the clearest evidence of His preparation. Consider Joseph, a man destined for greatness, yet thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, forgotten in a prison, but not forgotten by God. Every disappointment was training, every betrayal was shaping, every delay was refining, every injustice was aligning him with purpose. When breakthrough finally arrived, it came suddenly, but it had been prepared over years of unseen development. Joseph's resilience positioned him for elevation. This is what resilience truly means. It is not pretending you are strong. It is discovering that strength comes from God. It is not avoiding pain. It is growing through it. It is not denying your emotions. It is learning to anchor your emotions to divine truth. It is saying, God, I do not understand, but I still trust you. Resilience is faith stretched. Resilience is hope tested. Resilience is character strengthened. Resilience is consistency born in the middle of storms. But here's the part most people overlook: resilience is directly connected to prosperity, because prosperity is not just about money, it is about capacity. If God gives you more, but you do not have the internal strength to carry it, the blessing becomes a burden. If God opens a door, but you lack emotional stability, you will walk through it unprepared. If God gives you influence, but your character has not matured, you will lose what He gave you. So God strengthens you before He elevates you. He expands you before He promotes you. He humbles you before He multiplies you. Resilience becomes the foundation that prosperity stands on. Think about the last year. Think about the moments that stretched you, the disappointments that wounded you, the battles you did not expect, the losses that broke your heart, the financial pressure that drained your peace, the prayers that seemed unanswered. Every one of those experiences is part of a divine classroom, and the lessons learned in the hard seasons become the tools that support your breakthrough in 2026. Resilience is built when you keep moving, even when you feel stuck, when you keep believing, even when results are invisible, when you keep declaring God's promises, even when circumstances contradict them, when you keep sowing, even when harvest seems far, when You keep showing up to your purpose, even when you feel discouraged. Resilience is not measured by what you feel, it is measured by what you continue to do in faith. But do not misunderstand, this resilience is not about relying on your own strength. God never asked you to carry your battles alone. He is the one who sustains the weary, the one who lifts the broken, the one who strengthens the lowly, and the one who renews those who wait on him. Resilience is not your power, it is God's power flowing through a surrendered heart. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen right after the moments when you wanted to quit the most, because quitting is a spiritual attack. The enemy wants you to surrender right before the blessing arrives. He wants to exhaust you, discourage you, isolate you, and convince you that nothing will change. But resilience exposes his lies and declares, "My God is still working, even when I cannot see it." Hear this clearly: resilience is one of the strongest indicators that you are close to breakthrough, because if the attack has intensified, if the pressure has increased, if the waiting feels longer, if the obstacles feel heavier, it means something is about to open, something is about to shift, something is about to break in your favor. The enemy only fights what threatens him, and your future threatens him. Stepping into 2026 with this truth in your spirit, imagine entering the year not wounded by the past, but strengthened by it, not defined by past failures, but refined by them, not discouraged, but determined, not uncertain but anchored. Imagine looking at your new year with the confidence that every tear, every setback, every battle was shaping the person who is now ready to prosper. Resilience is your preparation. Resilience is your hidden strength. Resilience is the silent proof that God has been forming you for greater things. Resilience is the muscle that will carry you through doors your former self was not ready to handle. Resilience is the evidence that 2026 will not break you, it will build you, it will expand you, it will elevate you. Right now, declare this in the comments: my resilience will carry me into breakthrough in 2026, because the moment you speak it, you shift the atmosphere around your year. Asterisk. Every great promise in Scripture is connected to a process, and every person God ever elevated walked through seasons that felt nothing like elevation before their breakthrough arrived. The process is not the part you want, but it is the part you need. It is the unseen shaping, the silent strengthening, the hidden molding, the necessary preparation for the future. You are praying for the process is uncomfortable, but it is divine. You may be asking God for more this year, more opportunities, more income, more stability, more clarity, more favor. But God is asking you for something too. He is asking for depth, for maturity, for discipline, for trust, for spiritual alignment. Because the blessing you want requires the person you are becoming, and the process is what builds that person. Look at your life for a moment. Look at the tears you cried in silence. Look at the setbacks that discouraged you. Look at the decisions you regret. Look at the moments that crushed your confidence. Look at the doors that slammed shut. Look at the opportunities that slipped away. Look at the relationships that shifted. Look at the seasons where you felt stuck or forgotten. None of those moments were wasted. None of them were random. None of them were purposeless. They were part of the process, forming the version of you who will step into 2026 with spiritual authority and financial wisdom. The process is where God stretches your faith, where He breaks old patterns, where He removes unhealthy attachments, where He strengthens weak areas, where He reveals limiting beliefs, where He replaces fear with courage, where He aligns your desires with His purpose, where He matures your decision-making, where He prepares your heart to handle the blessings He will release in 2026. Think of Moses 40 years in the desert before leading a nation. Think of Joseph 13 years in pits, prisons, and disappointments before entering the palace. Think of Ruth, years of loss before stepping into redemption. Think of David, years of running, hiding, and fighting before sitting on the throne. Think of Esther, years of preparation before one moment of destiny. The pattern is consistent. God trains privately before He elevates publicly, and you are no exception. The resistance you faced in 2024 and 2025 was not random, it was preparation. God was shaping your resilience, your boundaries, your consistency, your discernment. He was maturing the parts of you that were not ready to hold the blessings you kept praying for. He was strengthening the foundation so that when abundance arrives, it does not collapse. He was preparing your spirit to carry what your prayers have been asking for. But here is the truth that many believers misunderstand: the process is not God delaying you, it is God building you. He never sends blessings to unprepared hands. He never pours abundance into an unsteady vessel. He never places destiny on an unstable foundation. Prosperity is weighty responsibility, is weighty influence, is weighty, and without the strength to carry it, the blessing becomes a burden. This is why God allows pressure, because pressure reveals weaknesses. Pressure exposes mindsets. Pressure uncovers habits. Pressure forces you to confront what needs to change. Pressure purifies motives. Pressure sharpens character. Pressure prepares you for all the doors He intends to open in 2026. When you felt like everything was falling apart, something was actually being built inside you. When you felt like the year was against you, God was shaping you. When you felt delay, God was developing endurance. When you felt confusion, God was deepening your reliance on Him. When you felt loss, God was uprooting what could not go with you into 2026. When you felt weary, God was stretching your capacity to receive. The process does not announce itself. It does not feel holy. It does not feel glorious. It often feels like frustration and waiting and unanswered prayers and silent nights and heavy mornings and hidden battles. But heaven sees what you cannot yet see. Heaven celebrates what you call struggle. Heaven understands what your heart cannot yet comprehend. Heaven knows the story God is building. And there is something else: the enemy always fights the process, because he knows what you sometimes forget. The process is producing a version of you. He cannot defeat every trial. You overcame every storm. You survived every challenge. You endured every disappointment. You rose from every moment. You kept believing. When quitting felt easier, has made your spirit stronger and your faith deeper and your vision clearer. This is why 2026 will not be a repeat of past years, because you are not the same person who lived them. God is not done with you. The delays you experienced were not denials. The setbacks you endured were not dead ends. The tears you cried were not signs of failure. The doors that closed were not rejection. They were redirection. The prayers you thought were unanswered were actually being answered in a different way. The process was preparing you, positioning you, aligning you for the season you are about to enter. So hear this in your spirit. Your process is not your prison. Your process is your preparation. Your process is the path to your promise. Your process is the bridge to your breakthrough. Your process is the reason 2026 will look nothing like the years before. Right now, if this word is touching, you declare it in the comments. I trust God's process for my 2026, because when you say it, you are not just typing words, you are aligning your heart with heaven. You are putting your faith into motion, and you are stepping into the growth that will carry you into your breakthrough. Asterisk, as we come to the end of this message, pause for a moment and breathe. Feel the weight of everything God has spoken to your spirit. Feel the shift inside you. Feel the hope rising again. Feel the strength returning. Feel the clarity forming, because nothing in this word was accidental. Heaven does not gather your attention without purpose. God is preparing you, shaping you, lifting you, and positioning you for a year unlike any other. You are not stepping into 2026 the way you stepped into other years. You are stepping in wiser, stronger, clearer, more aligned, more resilient, more spiritually awake. The battles that tried to break you only prepared you. The disappointments that wounded you only refined you. The delays that frustrated you only positioned you, and the process that exhausted you only strengthened you for the blessings that are coming. Now bow your heart for a moment and receive this prayer. Lord, I lift every person listening to this message, and I declare your hand upon their 2026. I ask that you guide their steps, strengthen their spirit, and fill their mind with divine clarity. Open the doors they cannot open on their own. Release provision where there has been lack. Release peace where there has been anxiety. Release Wisdom where there has been confusion, release courage. Where there has been fear, release strategy. Where there has been uncertainty, Lord, bless their finances, bless their work, bless their opportunities, bless their ideas, bless their relationships, bless their health, and bless the entire journey that awaits them this year. Surround them with your presence, align them with your purpose, and let every attack sent against them fall powerless. Now, God, I ask for something more, something deeper, something greater. Ignite their faith, awaken their vision, expand their capacity, sharpen their discernment, and prepare their hands to receive the blessings you have already written for their life. Let 2026 be the year they rise, the year they recover, the year they break cycles, the year they prosper, the year they walk in the calling you created them for. And now repeat this declaration with me. Step into 2026 with faith. I step into 2026 with strength. I step into 2026 with clarity. I trust God's process. I trust God's timing. I trust God's plan, and I declare that everything I need will be supplied, everything that was broken will be restored, and everything God promised will come to pass. If this prayer touched you, if this word awakened something inside of you, write in the comments, I receive this for my 2026, because your words activate your faith activates your future, and your future begins now.